Our final panel discussion will delve into an increasingly vital trend in the retail landscape, hyperlocal retail, titled The Role of Hyperlocal Retail, How Localized Approaches Are Shaping Customer Engagement and Sales. This panel will explore how businesses are leveraging local insights to enhance customer engagement and drive sales. Leading this important discussion is the insightful Mr. Deepak Aswani. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator of the session, Mr. Deepak Aswani, Chairman of RAI Kerala Chapter, on stage. Let's welcome Mr. Abdul Azeez on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Abdul Azeez is a visionary CEO behind the success of ALBAIK, transforming it from a traditional hotel chain into a modern, fast-growing business. His entrepreneurial journey began early, selling snacks to local hotels while still in the 7th grade, and later assisting his father's catering business. With a background in hotel management and an MBA, Mr. Abdul Aziz's keen interest, sense, and willingness to take calculated risk have fueled the rapid growth of Fiesta Express, a popular brand in Malabar. His passion for exploring world cuisines and serving them locally drives his vision to create a global community through exceptional food. We welcome you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, nextly, please welcome Mr. Ajay George Varghese, Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Bipha Ayurveda. Ladies and gentlemen, is the visionary leader behind Bipha Ayurveda, a global brand that blends the rich traditions of Ayurveda with modern wellness solutions. With over 3 decades of leadership, Ajay has successfully expanded Bipha presence across several countries, offering premium Ayurvedic wellness and therapeutic products. He started his journey with the company in sales and progressed to managing partner before becoming CEO in 2014. His expertise include marketing strategy, product development, and new business development in the wellness industry. We welcome you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, joining our panel, let's welcome Mr. Jaideep Shetty, the innovative Chief Executive Officer of Jai Lakshmi, on stage. Mr. Jaideep Shetty, the dynamic CEO of Jai Lakshmi, a leading fashion retail chain in Kerala known for its rich heritage and contemporary offerings. His vision has helped Jai Lakshmi maintain its status as trendsetter in fashion industry, attracting thousands of shoppers daily, particularly during festive season. We welcome you, sir. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Mehboob MA, the strategic MD of Secura Center. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mehboob MA is a pioneering figure in Kerala's real estate and retail industry. As a former managing director of Highlight Builders Private Limited, he was instrumental in developing Kerala's first shopping mall, Focus Mall, and North Kerala's largest retail destination, Highlight Mall in Calicut. Currently, he serves as the managing director of Secura Center, where he brings his vision of combining retail and modernism to create vibrant town centers that offer upscale shopping experiences and community spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, previously, he also has held prestigious roles like chairman of CREDAI as well as president of the Malabar Chamber of Commerce, and he's a regular speaker at major retail forum. We welcome you, sirs. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome all of our panel members with a round of applause. And may I request our moderator, our chairman of the session, Mr. Deepak Aswani, to kindly take over. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think after a nice lunch, everyone is a little sleepy. Can we just wake you up by making you stand up for a second? And give a big clap for yourselves. You too. Thank you. I think I've been given probably the most difficult topic to moderate on. Has anybody heard about hyper-local retail? You're the genius. So I'll just dwell a little bit on the theory of hyper-local retail before we ask questions to the panel. I'll just take about 5 or 6 minutes. So bear with me if it goes into or out of your head. See, I'm going into the impact, benefits, strategies, and challenges, and the opportunities of hyperlocal retail. I think Shibu Phillips, when he was here on the stage, he mentioned here and there a few points in which hyperlocal retail is being handled by Lulu Mall very effectively. See, the impact of hyperlocal retail, it has transformed customer engagement and sales in Kerala by increasing accessibility and convenience, number one. Number two, offering personalized products and services. Because as you become local and where there is more competition, let's say there are about five similar stores, 5 Louis Phillips shops run by 5 different franchisees. Now each one of them will have to offer different services to attract the same customer. So who goes to which shop is determined by the type of personalized service given by that particular store. And then fostering community engagement and loyalty. That's another major thing, because in a state like Kerala, which we have 14 districts, in a country like India where we have more than 29 states, what happens is the culture, the cuisine, the language is all different. Even within Kerala, from the language in Kasargod is totally different from that of Trivandrum. Thrissur is different from, let's say, Kottayam. So at each level, at each town, you find a different level of engagement with the consumer. So you also enhance customer experience through localized marketing. Now that is the key thing. The localized marketing is very important. For example, there are many temples, churches, mosques. Each one has a festival in that particular place. For example, if you have Edapalli Church having a festival. So that area around Edapalli would have a lot of consumers who would like to visit the neighboring shops also. So the church becomes a major factor out there. And then, of course, you provide competitive pricing and promotions. See, the benefits of hyperlocal approach is that you get a better understanding of your local customers' needs and preferences, increased customer loyalty and retention, improved supply chain efficiency and reduced logistics cost. So once you understood your customer and where he is, your logistics costs come down. Enhanced competitiveness against e-commerce and big box retailers. So your neighborhood kirana shop will know more about your family and your your ancestors also. So when a newly wedded bride comes in and buys something, he advises that poor girl that, okay, this is what your family buys. Opportunities for local entrepreneurship and job creation. So when you do hyperlocal retailing, there is job creation and also scope for a lot of entrepreneurship. There are localized customer engagement strategies, like you have to conduct market research and customer surveys. That also Shibu Philip very specifically told us where he can find his customers. Analyze social media and online reviews. Like, you might have a glass full of water, one drop of ink and the whole color changes. So one bad Google review on social media can change your look to the consumer. You have to engage with local community leaders and influencers. The very fact that we have so many politicians, so many parties in this place, engaging with each one of them for the welfare of your own well-being is very important. You need to host events and workshops, offer personalized services and loyalty programs. And some of the effective strategies for connecting with local communities have been you partner with local businesses and organizations. That's where the collaborative system of retailing comes in. You sponsor local events and festivals. Like Kalyan Silks, when they inaugurated their store, they were actually sponsoring the Shiva temple festivals around that area. Develop localized marketing campaigns. Offer community-focused products and services. And very importantly, like Shibu said again, foster employee relationships with customers. The employees have to find a relationship with the customer. So, it's because they are the ones who are dealing with them on a day-to-day basis, and they identify with them. I know of a situation, where my tailor was more popular with the commissioner of police than me, because the commissioner of police thought that only this tailor can stitch my uniform perfectly. Personalized offerings for local cultures. Hyperlocal retail brands can offer region-specific products and services, celebrate local festivals, partner with local artisans and suppliers. So you can identify the products which are available in that particular thing. Like for example, your clay pots and mud pots and all used to be available only in Edapalli at one time. Develop culturally sensitive and marketing campaigns. These campaigns also can be on social media. So the role of influencers and people who are very effective comes in very importantly. You also have to train your staff apart from the customer relationships. They should be aware of the local customs and traditions so that they don't hurt the customer's feelings. And some of the major challenges in hyperlocal retail have been inventory management and supply chain optimization. Because they are quite small, they cannot operate with the full inventory. Managing logistics and delivery costs, balancing local and global product offerings, maintaining consistent branding and quality, and adapting to changing local marketing trends. And the opportunities, like I said, local entrepreneurship, job creation, you can have innovative technology, that is AI and IoT, sustainable and eco-friendly practices, again what you said, community development and social responsibility, and all data-driven decisions making and analytics. So Kerala itself has a very strong culture and a lot of traditions. So we need to capitalize on this growing demand based on these cultures. Online shopping is coming up very big, so we need to keep an eye on that also. So I'm going to go back to my panel and let's see how they are dealing with hyperlocal retail in their particular fields and what are the suggestions they have to better it. So we'll start with Mr. Abdul Azeez first. And you were a company that has been established in Jeddah, isn't it?
No, it's separate. Actually.
That's a separate company. So this is India-based.
India-based.
So you have competition from various brands like KFC. Any FC is a fried chicken. So a lot of competition is there. How do you manage to, locally manage this?
Okay. First of all, good evening, everyone. I'm Aziz, CEO of ALBAIK. It's actually my father, our chairman was started in 1991 in Kerala, Malappuram. But I will speak in Malayalam, it will be good. Okay. ഇതൊരു ഫാമിലി ബിസിനസ് ആയിരുന്നു ആക്ച്വലി. അതിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരു ട്രാൻസ്ഫോർമേഷൻ എന്നുള്ളൊരു ടോക്ക് എന്നെ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്തപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞത്. അത് ഞങ്ങളൊരു വലിയ റെസ്റ്റോറൻ്റ് ആയിരുന്നു ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിലൊരുപാട് ചലഞ്ചസ്, ഒരു 120-150 എംപ്ലോയീസ് ആണ് ഒരു റെസ്റ്റോറൻറ്റിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുക. അതുപോലെ കൺസിസ്റ്റൻസി, അതുപോലെ മെനു, എന്നും ഒരു ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ഗൂഗിൾ റിവ്യൂ. അന്നൊന്നും ഗൂഗിൾ ഇല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് വലിയ പ്രശ്നമില്ല, കാരണം സർവീസ് ഇഷ്യൂസ് വരുന്നത്. നമുക്ക് മുന്നേ ഒരുപാട് അനുഭവങ്ങൾ കേരളത്തിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട് റെസ്റ്റോറൻറ്റിൽ ഈ സ്റ്റാഫിൻ്റെ മിസ്ബിഹേവിയർ കാരണം. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഒരുപാട് ചലഞ്ചസ് വന്ന് ഒരു സ്കെയിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്തൊരു രീതിയിലായിരുന്നു നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി ഒരു 20 years ബാക്ക് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അന്നൊരു 8 ഔട്ട്ലെറ്റോളം ഞങ്ങൾ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, മൾട്ടി ക്യൂസിൻ, ഒരു 200 സീറ്റിംഗ്, അതുപോലെ ബാങ്കറ്റൊക്കെ വെച്ചിട്ട്. പക്ഷേ അത് സ്കെയിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നൊരു രീതിയിലല്ലായിരുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ കേരളത്തിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു ഫസ്റ്റായിട്ട് ഒരു മിഡിൽ ഈസ്റ്റ് അറബിക് ക്യൂസീന് ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് ഞങ്ങളാണ് 91. അന്ന് ഈ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് നമ്മൾ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് പലർക്കും ഈ ഗാർലിക്കിൻ്റെ പേസ്റ്റ് കൊടുത്ത സമയത്ത് ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ മയോണൈസ് അതില്ലാണ്ട് ഒരു ചോറ് പോലും നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്തൊരവസ്ഥയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അത് ആളുകൾ കഴിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഇതെന്താണ് ഒരു ഗാർലിക്കിൻ്റെ ഫ്ലേവർ എന്നൊക്കെ ചോദിച്ചൊരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞു വരുന്നത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ ഹൈപ്പർ ലോക്കൽ റീറ്റെയിൽ എന്നുള്ള ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയുമായി കണക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ റീജിയൺ വൈസിൽ നമ്മളുടെ മെനു എപ്പോഴും ലോക്കലി കണക്റ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് വരണം. എന്നിരുന്നാൽ ഒരു യൂണിവേഴ്സൽ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ്, ഈവൻ പാസ്ത ആണെങ്കിൽ പോലും, ഇപ്പം നിങ്ങൾ ഏത് ബ്രാൻഡിൻ്റെ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് എടുത്ത് നോക്കണമെങ്കിലും അവരുടെ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിനെ അവർ സിങ്ക് ചെയ്യിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ലോക്കൽ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ്, എസ്പെഷ്യലി നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ പറയും ബിരിയാണി. ഒരു MNC മൾട്ടിനാഷണൽ കമ്പനി അവരുടെ ഒരു മെനു കീപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് അതിനകത്ത് അവരെന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ഇന്ത്യൻ ഇതിലാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ബിരിയാണി കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ട് അതിനെ ബ്രിഡ്ജ് ചെയ്യും, കസ്റ്റമറെ കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഒരു ബ്രിഡ്ജ് ചെയ്യും. അതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ കേസിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് MNCകളായിട്ടും ഞങ്ങൾ പിടിച്ചു നിൽക്കുന്നത് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങളുടെ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ഫ്രഷാണ്, മാർക്കറ്റിൽ എല്ലാവരും ഫ്രോസൺ ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതുപോലെ ലോക്കൽ സോഴ്സ് ചെയ്ത സാധനങ്ങളാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ അസാപ്പ് സർട്ടിഫൈഡ് ക്വാളിഫൈഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ചിക്കന് അതുപോലെ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഇൻഗ്രീഡിയൻസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ ചൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. അത് ഞങ്ങൾ MNC ഇത് മൾട്ടിനാഷണൽ കമ്പനികളായിട്ടും കോമ്പറ്റീറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും നമ്മൾ ഇവിടെ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു റീറ്റെയിൽ ഫുഡ് ചെയിനുകൾ നോക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വളരെ കുറഞ്ഞ MNCകൾ മാത്രമേ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളൂ. നിങ്ങൾ മിഡിൽ ഈസ്റ്റിൽ നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ മിനിമം ഒരു 20 ഔട്ട്ലെറ്റുകളെങ്കിലും ബ്രാൻഡുകളെങ്കിലും പ്രസൻസ് ആണ് മിഡിൽ ഈസ്റ്റിൽ. നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു മാളിൽ നിങ്ങൾ പോകുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത്രയും വൈഡ് ബ്രാൻഡുകൾ, ഒരു പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഫ്രൈഡ് ചിക്കൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ പോലും, നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഫ്രൈഡ് ചിക്കൻ FC, അത്രയും ബ്രാൻഡുകൾ. പക്ഷേ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ വളരെ ചെറിയ എൻട്രികൾ മാത്രമേ വന്നിട്ടുള്ളൂ. അപ്പോൾ അത്രയും വലിയൊരു ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി ഇന്ത്യൻ മാർക്കറ്റിലുണ്ട് എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയ ശേഷമാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ കുറച്ചുകൂടി സ്റ്റാൻഡർഡൈസ് ചെയ്ത് 2018 ഓൺവേർഡ്സ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഇതിനെ മോഡലിനെ കുറച്ചുകൂടി കംപ്രസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഈ ഒരു കോമൺ ഒരു ഫ്രൈഡ് ചിക്കൻ എന്നുള്ളൊരു കോമൺ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റാണെന്ന് ഇരിക്കുക. പക്ഷേ അതിനെ ഞങ്ങൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്തു, കുറച്ചുകൂടി ലോക്കലി ടച്ച് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചു. കൂടാതെ സാധാരണ എല്ലാവരും ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഒരു മസാല അതിനകത്ത് ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ചെയ്യണം. ഞങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ആ മസാല അതിനകത്ത് ഇൻഫ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, അതായത് മസാല ചിക്കൻ്റെ അകത്തോട്ട് ഇഞ്ചെക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതോടുകൂടി ഇതിൻ്റെ മീറ്റിനകത്തും നമുക്ക് ഈക്വൽ ചെയ്തിട്ട് തന്നെ ഫ്ലേവേഴ്സ് കിട്ടാൻ തുടങ്ങി. അതുപോലെ ഫ്രഷ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു ഫാക്ടറും പ്രഷർ ഫ്രൈഡ് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ആയതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ലെസ് ഓയിൽ, പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിൻ്റെ ക്വാളിറ്റി, ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് എന്ത് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇപ്പോൾ കഴിഞ്ഞ 3 പ്രാവശ്യമായിട്ട് ശിവസാറിന് അറിയാം അവരുടെ മാളിലെ ബെസ്റ്റ് പെർഫോമിംഗ് ഔട്ട്ലെറ്റുകൾ ഇതിലാണ് ലാസ്റ്റ് 3 പ്രാവശ്യമായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട് കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ആയിട്ട്. അത് തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഞങ്ങൾ അവിടെ ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങളുടെ കസ്റ്റമർക്ക് ഏറ്റവും ബെസ്റ്റ് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് കൊടുക്കണം, ഒരു ഡിഫറൻ്റ് ആവണം, ഒരു ഫോളോവർ ആവരുത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ പുറത്താണ് ഞങ്ങളൊരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഒരു കസ്റ്റമർ ഈ ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിനെ നോക്കി കാണുന്നത്. ആ ലോക്കലി ഇപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ അടുത്ത ആഴ്ച ഹൈദരാബാദ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ സ്റ്റോറിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ പുതിയ റൈസ് ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അത് ഇവിടെ കൊച്ചിയിൽ ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല, പക്ഷേ ഹൈദരാബാദിലാണ് ഫസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ലോഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതിന് മെയിൻ റീസൺ എന്താ വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഹൈദരാബാദ് മാർക്കറ്റ് ഒരു റൈസ് ഇല്ലാതെ അവർ ഒരു ചിക്കൻ കഴിക്കില്ല. അപ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് വേണ്ടത് ഒരു സ്പൈസി ഫ്ലേവേർഡ് റൈസ് വേണം. അപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ അതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് 1.5 വർഷമായിട്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ R&D എടുത്തു. കാരണം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് നേരെ ഷെഫിനെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ട് അവിടെ പ്ലേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഒരു പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ആ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിന് ഞങ്ങൾ ആദ്യം ഞങ്ങളുടെ കിച്ചണിൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ R&D എടുത്ത് അതിനൊരു സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് ഫോർമാറ്റ് മേക്ക് ചെയ്തു, അതിന് വേണ്ടി മിഷനറീസ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഒരു ലോക്കൽ ടച്ച് ഞങ്ങൾ മെനുവിലോട്ട്, അതായത് കസ്റ്റമറായിട്ട് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ഒരു ലോക്കൽ ടച്ച് വേണം. നിങ്ങൾ മാർക്കറ്റിലോട്ട് നോക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ ലുലു ഹൈപ്പറിൽ കയറുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പാലക്കാട് പോകുന്ന സമയത്ത്, പാലക്കാട് ഹൈപ്പറിൽ കയറുന്ന സമയത്ത് അവിടെയുള്ള പാലക്കാടൻ അച്ചാർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സാധനം അവിടെ ഉണ്ടാകും, പാലക്കാട് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് മുന്നിൽ വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. ഇത് ആ ഒരു കസ്റ്റമറെ ഇമോഷണലി അങ്ങോട്ട് കണക്ട് ചെയ്യാനും ഈ ഇമോഷണൽ കണക്ഷൻസ്, അത് ഒരു ഡയറക്റ്റ് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിനെ നമുക്ക് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. എപ്പോഴും അതിനകത്ത് ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിനെ അത് ടാർഗറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയിൽ മാത്രമേ നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ, പ്ലേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ബിസിനസ് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. അല്ലാതെ വന്ന എല്ലാ ബ്രാൻഡുകളും മാർക്കറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് വാഷ് ഔട്ട് ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. മാർക്കറ്റിൽ ഗ്രോ ചെയ്ത ബ്രാൻഡുകൾ നിങ്ങൾ നോക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഈ ടോപ്പിക്ക് എനിക്ക് കിട്ടിയതിൽ വളരെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. കാരണം വളരെ നല്ലൊരു ടോപ്പിക്കാണ്. ഈ ഒരു എക്സ്പെഷ്യലി ബിസിനസ്സിലോട്ട് പുതിയതായിട്ട് വരുന്ന ആളുകൾക്കും വളരെ ഉപകാരപ്രദമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു പോയിൻ്റാണ്. എപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ കസ്റ്റമറുടെ സ്റ്റഡി നടത്തിയിട്ട് ആ ഒരു കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റിക്ക് എന്താണോ വേണ്ടത് ആ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിന് നമ്മൾ കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ആ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റിന് നമ്മൾ സൊല്യൂഷൻ കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ആ ബ്രാൻഡ് കയറും. അതിൽ സർവീസും പ്രൊഡക്റ്റും അതിനകത്തൊരു കോംപ്രമൈസ് ഉണ്ടാവാൻ പാടില്ല. പിന്നെ രണ്ടാമത് ഒരു ഹൈപ്പർ ലോക്കൽ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ഫ്രാഞ്ചൈസി എന്നുള്ള കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് നേരിട്ട് ഈ ഒരു വേർഡിനോട് സിങ്കാണ്. നമുക്കൊരു എക്സ്പാൻഷൻ ചെയ്യണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ആസാമിൽ ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, അരുണാചൽ പ്രദേശിൽ ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇവിടെ ഒന്നും ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ, ഞങ്ങൾ ഡയറക്റ്റ് ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഞങ്ങളുടെ കോസ്റ്റ് ഓപ്പറേറ്റിംഗ് എക്സ്പെൻസ് വിൽ ബി വെരി ഹൈ. ബട്ട് നമ്മളൊരു ഫ്രാഞ്ചൈസി കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ആയതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ലോക്കൽ സപ്പോർട്ടും ആ ലോക്കൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്കും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കൂടുതലായിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, ഞങ്ങൾ ഗ്രോത്തിനെ കുറച്ചുകൂടി കൂടുതലായിട്ട് സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഞങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ എക്സ്പാൻഷൻ മോഡിൽ ആണെങ്കിൽ പോലും ഞങ്ങൾ കൂടുതൽ ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഒരു ഫ്രാഞ്ചൈസി ഓൺ കമ്പനി ഓപ്പറേറ്റ്, അതായത് ആ ലോക്കൽ സപ്പോർട്ടാണ് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ വളർച്ചയുടെ പിന്നിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഒരു സക്സസ് ആയിട്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ കാണുന്നത്.
ദാറ്റ് വാസ് എ വെരി ഗുഡ് എക്സാമ്പിൾ. ഇത് എങ്ങനെ പ്രൊമോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു ഓരോ റീജിയനിൽ?
സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ടും ഞങ്ങൾ മാർക്കറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കളക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതല്ല പ്രൊമോട്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇപ്പോൾ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞ മാതിരിക്ക് ലുലു മാളിൽ എത്ര ആൾ ഫുഡ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യേണ്ടതെന്നുള്ളത് ഞങ്ങൾ ഡാറ്റ എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ആർക്കെ ഫ്രൈഡ് ചിക്കൻ നോക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ആ ആളുകൾക്ക് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഓർഡർ ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു ബട്ടൺ ഞങ്ങൾ കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിന് ഓരോ ക്ലിക്കിനും സാറ് പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ഒരു ഗൂഗിൾ ലിങ്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, ഞങ്ങൾ ഷെയർ ചെയ്ത് കൊടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിനായിട്ട് ഡെഡിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് ഓഫീസിലൊരു ടീമേ ഇരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതായത് രാത്രി വരെ ഓപ്പറേറ്റ്, അതായത് ത്രൂ ഔട്ട് എങ്ങനെയാണ് റീച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നത് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എവിടെ പോയാലും ഗൂഗിളോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ ഡാറ്റ എടുക്കുന്ന ആളുകൾ കയ്യിൽ നിന്ന് ഈ സാധനം പർച്ചേസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ആരൊക്കെ ലുലുമാളിൽ വന്നിട്ട് ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ന റീജിയനിൽ വന്നിട്ട് ഇന്ന ഫുഡ് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്, ഏത് ഫുഡാണ് അവർ സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ആ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റാണ് ഈസിയാണ്, കുറച്ചുകൂടി മുന്നത്തെ പോലെ കുറച്ചുകൂടി ഈസിയാണ്.
So we'll come on to Ajay. He is into probably Kerala's best known product, that is Ayurveda. And I always say, you know, east or west, Bipha is the best. So Bipha Ayurveda is one of the very unique companies. You'll find them at probably all airports. It's a very premium, very niche product, and he's come out with some amazing products. Recently there was one for blood circulation and thing. So let's hear it from you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak. I mean, he always comes out with very good anecdotes and word coupling. I think I've never been able to figure it out yet, but I'm learning. Yeah, thanks. So I guess we are quite unique in a way. I would say we are the opposite to hyper local. I think we are more local to hyper, because essentially, as Deepak said, you know, one thing what we do is we are representing a state. So we always see ourselves as not just sellers of a product, but we rather sell the culture, the tradition, and the knowledge of a state. So this is how we come out to the consumer. So it's probably just the opposite what we do. So, you know, when we say larger processes occur to make it localized, what we are trying to do is take a local product global. So we can call it global, I guess. That's how we follow it. Because Kerala has got such a big brand equity, you know, in Ayurveda especially, and the whole world believes it. We are not just talking about it, we're rather very quiet about it, and we rather would not be talking about it. So that's where we thought, see, we should actually go and talk loudly and present it very, very loudly in front of the world customer. Because the whole world talks about it, but what do we have to offer? We don't have anything to offer. If you imagine how an Ayurvedic store would look like, if you'd imagine how a product would look like in a store, I mean, for us, when we started it, what we imagined was a store at the corner of a town, dusty, with a board which is all probably not there or faded, with bottles which are not great, and nothing
all
to
brown
take.
bottles.
All brown bottles. So it was like a bleak, dark, dusty store at the end of a town. So this is where we felt, when we started our first store, it was all white. I said it should be all white, it should look very neat, it should have color coding, and it should have products which are packed, which people should aspire to buy. So this was our theory, and this was our concept. And the first store when we thought about this concept, because then we went into Cochin Airport and we said we want a store. So they said, what's this guy's problem? I mean, do you really have a problem, or are you really a crack? Because nobody ever thought of going into an airport to set up the store. But then we thought, we don't want to put it anywhere. We would want to put it in the best place possible, in the most visible spot. And we would like to place it in a manner where people should see it and should start looking at it. I'm not saying buying. And we went about setting up the store, and honestly, on the first day itself, I thought it won't last beyond 3 months, because, you know, it is not very easy. But believe me, from that day onwards, from day one, that store started performing well. And in fact, then started a whole journey, basically, which then we understood it's not selling Ayurveda, not placing anything, but rather the consumers are what drives it. Then the whole journey from, let's say, 40 products with 2 categories went on to today, I guess, I don't know, maybe we would have developed more than 250 products. This is where we understood what customers wanted. In fact, I was talking to somebody today, said, one of our biggest learnings which we had in retail was to understand what a consumer needs, understand what the customer wants, and understand how to price it, how to position it, and how to place it. So this was, in fact, a big learning that we got out. Went on for a sporadic journey of making products, which I would have lost count, because we would have thought of every other product or the other product that the customer may need, will need, and would need. So that's how the journey went on. When it comes to the hyperlocal theory here, I guess I was never mindful of all the festivals in the north. And now we have the Navaratri, the Raksha Bandhan, suddenly, these are festivals which were not celebrated in a big way in Kerala, and suddenly you're mindful of Navaratri, Raksha Bandhan, Ganapati Puja. So everything we have started being mindful. Every religious festival, Christmas, so everything becomes an opportunity to sell. So that's where we started making very customized products and sustainable products. Now we've started with sustainable packaging. So we recently had a type with ISAF where we took bamboo. So we're talking about sustainability. So the whole idea is, the concept is one and the same, whichever concept that we take in. But how do you place it and position it, number one, pack it, number two, then how do you customize it to the local taste and local requirements. I think that's where we are probably looking at how to make it more customized, and tomorrow we know for sure it will have to be personalized. Maybe, tomorrow there has to be a bottle which says special to Deepak Aswani. So this is what is the next thing that's going to really happen. And again, when you look at technology there, we are looking at a lot of these AI technologies, because one problem with Ayurveda is people know about Ayurveda, people think it's good, but they don't know what to buy. So everybody's got this problem. What should I buy? What would suit me? And how would I take it? So this is where the personalization happens through a process of understanding each individual customer and selling to their taste. So that is where the next level of the journey will go on to. So that's probably to look at, let's say, what's your skin type, whether it's oily. I asked somebody, what's your skin type? So these are the finer details that we need to now start getting into. This won't be hyper, I would say this is micro retailing. Possibly, this is exactly the whole concept of Ayurveda. It's personalized. It was never mass produced. It was never mass sold. Now we sell it as a convenience, but then it will all finally come to a very personalized experience of probably looking at your image with the help of an AI and probably the system generating or telling you what would you have to buy. And believe me, there the customer wallet is not closed. It's very open, and customer would only like to know what goes well with me.
They want the best.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
You also got into perfumes.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that part of Ayurveda or?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. That's something that really excites me these days, because perfumes is something which I accidentally got into, because we had about 4 perfumes which we felt was a product extension. It was never a series that we planned. But it so ended up that these products started having good traction. So we only started with oud. So the only promise which we made to the customer was it will only be absolutes. So you talk about oud, there'll be one, chandana, there'll be one. And then, we had 2 other perfumes which were just what they were, like rose or gulabi or, and mallika, which is jasmine. This was a great experience. And we understood, like MYOP, they give customized perfumes. So we felt, would you know that, or do you know that Kerala produces perfumery actives to the whole world? To the whole world. It goes from Kerala. So there were companies in Kerala who were making ingredients. Now tell me, how many brands do you know from Kerala who makes perfumes? Hardly anybody makes perfumes here. Why should we not? Why can we not? The question is, what do we not have? I mean, like somebody said, the packaging comes from China. You've got good French perfumers. So then we found out a French perfumer who was in Kerala at that point of time, who started curating fragrances for us. So that's been a tremendously great experience. Now we're coming out with do you know that vetiver, which is Ramacham, is one of the, you look at vetiver, it's internationally famous. Where does it go from? South of India. And this is a famous perfume called patchouli. Do you know what that ingredient is? What is that ingredient called? It's called as patchouli. That's originally from Tamil Nadu. Now it's world famous. We don't even realize it. So we're launching vetiver and patchouli. We're coming out with destination perfumes now, because so many people are coming to Kerala. What can they take out of Kerala? So we're coming out with some destination fragrances. We're coming out with an alcohol-free perfume also, which can be like, you can just fix it on, so no alcohol in. So I would say there is a great opportunity. It's all about, I'm talking the opposite to what you say, like, hyperlocal, why can't we local? There's a lot more that can go from Kerala. There's a lot more that we can take to the world, and of course customize it to those local markets and needs. And I'm sure there's a big market from Kerala.
So it will be hyperlocal in local.
Sorry?
It will be hyperlocal in local.
That's right, what I'm saying.
So we'll move on to Jaydeep. Jaydeep, Jayalakshmi is a brand which I know from childhood. I remember they started off as a very small shop in Cloth Bazaar Road, came very close to where we are right now, and then moved on, and now they're all over Kerala. And I believe now you're coming up with one of the biggest stores in Cochin. Now, differentiating Jayalakshmi in different locations, Initially, I thought Calicut did not do too well. Is it because of the tastes are different in Calicut and the tastes are different in this place? So how do you manage the various locations?
So Deepak, I'll begin by saying that I'm exactly 5 weeks old in Jayalakshmi, yeah? So I know when I was introduced, I was called this visionary CEO. I have nothing to do with where Jayalakshmi is today. Yeah, I mean, so yeah. So there is a version, what we call 3.0. It is a multi-generational business. In fact, the third generation is now getting involved in the business. So my reading of Kerala is each city in Kerala is different to the other. Between here and Thrissur, there's a big difference in the taste, in the composition of the communities which consume. So, and each of these cities, typically when I come from Bombay, and of course I've worked nationally, but I see most of the metros, 80% of your catchment is your own city. But in Kerala, the feeder market is very large. So about probably 1/3 of our business in Calicut comes from outside of a 30-kilometer radius. Similarly, Thrissur is more than 15 kilometers. Kochi, we have a lot of customers who are coming from places like Kottayam. So there is a lot of people who come from outside. The other distinctive thing about our markets is that the average group which comes to purchase, see, we are anchored around weddings and celebration. So the average customer group is about 8 to 10 people in a group. And Kerala and Tamil Nadu are also states when there is marriage shopping, the groom's family and the bride's family, they come together to shop. So very often we have groups of 18 and 20 who come to shop. So this has its own implications in terms of service, hyperlocalization, hyper-personalization. I mean, my baptism was, understanding what hyper-personalization in our language is, that you know the customer's name and where he stays, and not about having his number and sending him a WhatsApp and saying, "Happy birthday, Deepak." I've seen the promoters, they walk into the store, they know customers, and they say, "Oh, you come from Kakanad, okay, how is it going? How is your child doing?" So there is that familiarity which is being built. Tastes are very different, so we've got to keep modifying the kind of clothing that we do. So the merchandise mix essentially moves from store to store. We are largely saris and lehengas as a part of the core. What we are building very strongly is also ethnic menswear. That's a category which we are building. What I see is that the younger consumer still wants to come individually, doesn't necessarily want to come with his or her parents and in-law. They also like to shop individually, so their tastes are relatively different. So there's some amount of hyper-localization that's happening in terms of products. The other hyper-localization that's not happening actually is marketing. We actually focus our marketing slightly into the feeder markets because there Jayalakshmi is not top of mind. In every city you'll see Jayalakshmi bang in the center of town, so we know people who live in the vicinity of 10 to 15 kilometers, they see the store almost on a daily basis. So a lot of our marketing spend is outside. Third thing, we have a lot of seasons, right? I mean, different communities, so there's different festivals, and plus there is an NRI season, which actually in this country only Kerala has in a very serious way. So the NRI thing is again a separate thing. So you've got to track when the NRIs are coming in. We think the Christian NRIs are going to come in for Christmas. So product has to change at that part of the year. When it's Eid, Calicut, which is a significantly larger Muslim population, we've got to start catering to that customer. So I think those are challenges that we face on a regular basis. We've not had this pressure on hyperlocal delivery yet, because we are occasion driven. We are lucky if somebody calls because he's forgotten his wife's birthday or the anniversary of his mother's or sister's, and suddenly he wants something dispatched home, then that works. But we've not consciously gone out and cultivated that consumer. But I believe there is a need for it. I think Jeff Bezos and Amazon started us on Prime, and then you realize even if you want a TV, you want it today only. So I think that's something we need to cultivate. So that's what I would say.
How are you differentiating your new store that's coming up from the other stores?
The new store is...
One more, is that there is so much competition in this particular field. So you have giants like Kalyan, you have Pothys, you have Martis. Of course, Parthas has been washed out. But then there are others also coming up slowly. In fact, the corporates are also coming into saris in a big way. Tanera is coming in. And then online, you find a whole lot of brands. So how do you get hyperlocal on those issues?
So let me answer the corporates coming in. Every corporate that's coming in into the sari business is using a very cookie cutter approach, okay? So they will start with, okay, 30% will be Kanjivaram, 30% will be Banarasi, this much Muga silk, this much Maheshwari, Chanderi, Patolas, Paithani. So that's a cookie cutter approach which will work well if you're doing a 8 to 10,000 square foot store. That works. But when you're doing a large store and you're building an experience, then everything has to be, there's got to be a lot more passion, and the product development has to be a lot more visceral, which means you're spending time in those markets with those weavers. Like when I came in, and I was shocked that we are working with 2,100 vendors. And you don't get, there are not too many businesses which work actively with 2,100 vendors. So there is a certain amount of detailing that goes in. Since I know some of the people in the corporates also, the thought process is very different. So that's how I see it. We have a lot of respect for competition, but I think everybody has a certain niche, Like one of the stores that you said is actually a department store which also sells 30% sari. So they're not really a serious sari player. There are some who are sari players. Some of them are segregated by affordability. Some of them are segregated by occasion. In our case, we are very clearly, distinctly anchored around bridal clothing, And in our case, it will also be groom clothing. The Palarivattam store which we are building is built on a very large scale. I think India hasn't seen a store of that scale. Plus, the whole customer experience is done very differently. It's actually a little early to reveal too much because we'd like to keep a lot of surprises. But indeed, it's a completely different level of an experience that you will see.
I hope it comes out very well. So we'll come on to Mehboob sir. And he's been a pioneer in the mall business. And I first met him when we went to Calicut and saw him at High Tech. And now he's with Secura. And what is your vision for hyperlocal? Because as you get into malls in different locations, now Perindalmana may be different from what you're doing in Kannur. And what are your expansion plans? And how do you expect to cater to the local taste there?
Each market, even though it's a one state, only if you take only in Kerala, each market is different. Price levels or aspiration levels is different. Taste and culture is different. And we have to study, or we have to see each market as a separate entity or separate region. We cannot do a cut and paste from one place to other place. What we are doing, we did brand mix and all at Kannur based on the insights what we got from the Kannur and neighboring areas. And when we moved that to the next Perindalmana location, we are doing that exercise again. And apart from that, the experience what we got, or the actual our expectations and actuals, how it's worked in Kannur, that also we are considering. The problem what we face or what we see now, the established retailers, you are very much with Raymond's long time, and since you are well connected the brand, and you could change some extent the offering, you could select some extent, but the company-owned stores and national retailers, especially the older or long-time players, they are actually finding difficult to cope up with or adjust with the current realities. That is a fact. Actually, they are losing the ground because of that. We are also seeing that. But new players, D2C brands, which is especially those who have come from online to offline, And they are all able to understand the customer sentiment, details, local thing much better. And new local players also can do that is better. Without customization of local flavor, without understanding local flavor, because retail has become more or less an experiential activity than only buying now. Because if you want only buy some certain thing, you can do online also. But then that is very, very important, the localization. But our retailers has to understand that in a little more, to take that in a little more serious way. Otherwise, those who are not considering that localization or whatever the hyperlocal approach, they will lose out. Second thing, see earlier the marketing or promotion was mainly TV, newspaper. You cannot localize or customize beyond a certain point. Now what Shibu and all telling now, you are targeting not on a district, on an individual. Then, see, if you have started targeting an individual, the whole canvas is changed. The advertisement is, it's not hyperlocal, it's personal. And in a era where the personal advertising going on, and if you are not changing your product or service offering into a customized, localized environment, you will not survive. It's very difficult. What we are actually seeing that is happening in the major national brands. Those who are going the traditional way, I don't see, some cases no, we are thinking double or twice, Shibu maybe, even though he may not tell openly. See, the brands, the so-called big brands, we have second thoughts now because they are not adapting. They don't know what is the young generation today want. There are other brands, there are other people who can do that.
They are going through a very uniform approach.
Very uniform approach. That will not work. It's not working. Yeah. See, I'm not a retailer, but every day I'm dealing with retailers. And I'm seeing the retail from the corridor, not inside. And I know, I can compare than those who are in. I can compare the brands, I can see the, without, I'm not directly attached to that, I can see in arm's length at least. And success of retail is very key to me. My success is the success of retailer. And I am very much into that also. And that way, it's very sure without hyperlocal approach, we will not survive. And for the retailers here, see this quick commerce is picking up. It's a very good opportunity for the local retailers. We have to engage that. Malabar Chamber had a few interaction with the ONDC. RAI is taking up the ONDC platform very seriously. See, with using the ONDC and other networks, the local retailers can compete with these quick commerce companies to an extent. You can't say 100%. There is a way out for that. And at least, that will increase the volume. See, some segments like supermarkets and all, it's a little more challenging, but still they can do that. And other area also, see, people want things at a faster pace. It's an opportunity actually for all the local retailers. See, those Amazon and Flipkart bringing from outside, at least 24 hours is a big achievement for them. And see, we can think of way out. See, you have the Raymond's stock in your, if you can deliver it using a common mechanism, you don't need to have a own mechanism. And at the end of the day, that will increase your turnover. And we are also keen of increasing our retailers' turnover. And from our side, we are also willing to collaborate with the retailers, support them to whatever common things to do, to compete with the new. And we cannot keep away from the technology changes. We have to go with that. If we are not able to do on, collaborate with others.
Yes.
There is absolutely nothing, no, there is no, and that is the only way forward for the local retailers and small retailers to be with the trends.
Exactly. In fact, from morning we've been talking about collaboration more than competitiveness. One quick answer from all of you on social media and influencers. Are you using them and what is the effectiveness? We'll start from you.
Yeah, social media is nowadays, the social media have a big influence in the local community. Definitely what the influencers is saying, definitely whether it is good or not, they will try.
Are you using it?
Yeah,
And
definitely
are you using influence?
Yes, definitely we using we have an approach that every week we have to do one vlogging content that we have to put in our social media or any third party also. That every week on, that is our company policy actually nowadays for the marketing. Social media have a very good role in the current situation.
I think it's become something very important. Number one, we've all got so tired of, I mean, we cannot anymore read. We can only see, we can only hear, we cannot read. So you need somebody to even tell you what you need to know. So that's something that customers have learned. And I think that's something that we have to do, number one. Two is, you yourself can be influencers because a lot of people are now let's not look at influencers always as external influencers. Internally, if you have influencers, like, you can be your own influencer, you can have that's something that's also picking up a lot of interest. I mean, that's what you are, your story. So that's one very strong messaging, which I've learned that can work. If you like look at how you make things, that's what people are interested. Like you talk about your rice. And the other social media influencers are big time now. So even if your product is not good, I would still say, try influencers, you'll still sell. That's the other side. No, that's the other side of it. But that's how marketing is working today. But if your product is not good, they're not going to come back. That's the only point that I'm trying to say.
We've not used above the line in advertising. We've not used any celebrity, but starting day after tomorrow, you'll see a lot of influencer posts. So we're getting there. But I think the big opportunity for a brand like Jai Lakshmi is to use user-generated content. More than 40,000 brides get married in a Jai Lakshmi sari. And if you just post that itself is a big thing.
We are doing that for Raymond's actually.
Yeah. This social media influencers actually the old time now, page 3 of local newspaper now. They are the page 3 now. And we cannot afford to avoid them. See, if you want to communicate the message, whether good or bad or whatever way, see, they are reaching to the people. Use them in a good way. That is the only way.
Okay, thank you. I think we've run out of time. And thank you. A very insightful conversation that we had. And the key word which came out from at least two of you was going local. Because Jai Lakshmi also has a lot of international customers coming to them. So hyperlocal is one, local is the other. A concoction of the two will be a sure success story. Thank you very much and look forward to seeing you at the next summit also.
Thank you. Thank you so much.